Professionals did not stop an aircraft. They broke the moment it became ground. Asta Bryn had until touchdown. After that, the assault team would own the runway. She sent the Airfield's only heavy recovery tractor into the landing path. The collision destroyed the aircraft, the tractor, and the main relay. It should have ended the attack. Instead, 9 survivors rose from the north crash zone and formed 2 disciplined groups. The impact ran through the runway under Asta's boots. A second later, the relay carrier dropped into silence. "Primary feed is gone," a signaler said. "Burst back up?" "Intermittent, no continuous link." Asta kept her eyes north. Beyond the north threshold, the wreck and crushed tractor rested on the eastern snow shoulder, sealing the approach any heavy recovery machine would need. South of them, the runway remained an unbroken strip of packed white and black pavement. "Noel," she said, "tell me what still works." Noel Verak stood at the runway edge, one hand shielding his eyes from the glare. He did not look at the fire. He traced the surviving surface instead. "Southern lane is continuous," he said. "Light movement can still pass. Nothing heavy gets north until we bring in equipment we no longer have." "How long?" "Not today, not without outside recovery." Asta drew cold air too fast. It caught high in her chest, sharp enough to feel like an error. She forced the breath down and watched movement among the broken sections of the aircraft. "Count." 11 embarked, the signaler said. 9 moving. Combat capable. 7. 2 down hard. Defenders remain 9. 9. The heavy cargo had split with the aircraft. Dark cases and twisted frames lay open across the eastern shoulder. Whatever had been meant to close the runway by weight was finished. The men were not. One group of 4 formed around the 2 wounded. 2 effective men dragged the casualties away from the wreck without skittering, and kept their bodies between the injured and the field. Bastion and 4 others moved apart, then settled into a line that faced south. Asta raised her field glasses, then lowered them before the glare could flatten depth. "Do not chase the wounded," she said. "Hold the runway edge, keep the south open." A security lead glanced toward the wreck. "We can finish this before they spread. We can lose the lane before they spread. They have no aircraft. They still have 7 people who know what they are doing." The security lead looked north again. "Then give me 4. You get 3. 2 hold the southern lane. 1 stays with communications. Noel keeps the marker lights and lane equipment. The rest remain with me." That leaves no reserve. The tractor was the reserve. Noel turned from the runway. "And the recovery plan?" Asta looked at him. His voice had gone flat in the familiar way that meant he had stopped trying to win the argument. "You stopped the landing," he said. "You also fixed every heavy loss in place. I know what I spent. Then know what remains. The southern lane is continuous, the north is not. If we close the south by mistake, there is no second field." Asta nodded once. "Mark the northern limit. Nothing crosses it unless I order it." "With what markers?" "Whatever is already outside. Do not open the workshop yet." Noel's gaze moved toward the buildings, then back to the runway. "Understood." A short burst cracked from the north. Snow kicked up 20 yards in front of Asta's line. The 4 effective attackers did not advance behind it. They shifted while the defenders looked at the impact. "Movement left of the wreck," a guard said. Asta saw it. The wounded group had changed direction under cover of the noise. They were not retreating straight away from the field. They were angling toward higher ground, while one man stayed close enough to shield both casualties. "Bastion Morn," the signaler said. "Center of the 4. Asta found him by behavior, not face. He checked the wounded once, pointed 2 fighters toward the runway edge, and sent the other pair wider while keeping both elements inside supporting distance. "He is protecting the casualties," the security lead said. "He is protecting the group, Asta replied. Same thing. No, it means he still expects to use both. Another burst came over the runway. The defenders flattened behind the low edge, while the hostile pair moved 10 yards closer. Their pace stayed measured. No one rushed the open surface. No one broke toward the wreckage. Asta keyed the backup set. All posts burst only. North element is intact. Do not answer movement with pursuit. Static swallowed half the transmission. The signaler shook his head. Repeat. No, they heard enough. Noel crouched beside the runway edge and pressed a gloved hand to the surface where the vibration had faded. South main sound. Keep it that way. Asta watched Bastion divide 7 combat-effective people into work. 2 fixed the defender's attention, 2 moved toward the runway edge, and 2 protected the wounded while he stayed between both groups. The aircraft lay broken behind them, but their next movement had already begun. 3 moving south, the security lead said. 2 holding north. Bastion? Center. He is keeping both groups connected. Asta lifted her weapon but did not fire into distance and uncertainty. Hold, she said. The hostile line opened wider. Then both disciplined groups began moving at once. The first hostile group pulled east behind the wreck before turning toward Weather Ridge. 1 effective fighter stayed with the 2 wounded. The second protector broke away and moved south, leaving Bastion with 6 people who could still fight. They are reconnecting, the security lead said. Asta saw 2 separate elements converging on East Hangar. One came along the runway edge. The other crossed behind broken equipment, where the hangar wall hid them between bursts of wind. Not the building, she said. The meeting point. The security lead looked toward the hangar doors. They get inside, we lose count. They get together, we lose the field. 3 with me, 2 hold the runway, keep 1 on backup communications. That is 6. Noel's has the other 2. Noel's voice came over the burst set. I did not ask for them. You have them now. I need 1. You keep 2. Static cut off his reply. Asta moved toward East Hangar with 3 defenders. Inside the hangar edge, every footstep returned from somewhere else. Contact, run side, a defender whispered. How many? 2, maybe 3. A second report came through the backup set. Movement behind the hangar. The security lead looked at Asta. They are bracketing us. No, they are trying to meet. She could not see Bastion, but the spacing carried his control. Each adjusted to the other's progress. They were closing a gap, not clearing ground. Asta pointed to the runway edge. Hold there, do not follow them inside. The security lead frowned. We are already inside. Then stop going deeper. A shape crossed the open hangar mouth. A defender fired, and the figure dropped behind a stack of abandoned ground equipment. The second hostile element answered from outside. The sound doubled under the roof until distance became useless. Left side moving, a guard said. Let it move. It is coming around us. It is coming to them. Asta backed toward the hangar mouth. Cold wind touched the right side of her face. That gave her the runway again. The first hostile pair appeared along the exterior wall. At the same moment, 2 others entered from the shadowed edge. Now, she said. The defenders shifted toward the gap between the groups. It closed the only moment in which the hostile elements could see and support one another. One attacker rushed the narrowing space. Asta met him at arm's length. His shoulder struck hers and drove both of them against the hangar frame. Her weapon caught between their bodies. She released it, turned with the impact, and shoved him away from the opening. A defender seized the attacker's coat and pulled. The man struck the frame hard, lost his footing, and went down under the defender's weight. He tried to rise, but one leg folded beneath him. Hostile down, the East Hangar defender said. Can he keep fighting? Not moving, clean. Leave him. Hold the gap. A burst came from outside. The security lead jerked backward and hit the runway edge. His weapon slid from his hands. I am hit. Where? Shoulder, arm is gone. Can you move? Yes. Then get behind the wall. You cannot fight. I can still watch. Report from there. Bastion appeared beyond the opening. He did not rush the fallen fighter. He looked once toward Weather Ridge, once toward the separated element, then cut his hand down. Break east, he said. Do not cross. His people obeyed. The outside pair withdrew along the runway. The second element gave ground behind the hangar wall. They did not try to recover the man who could no longer stand. They are splitting again, a defender said. They never joined, Asta replied. The security lead pressed his good hand against his shoulder. You stopped them. For now. Count. 6 still effective, including the escort with the wounded. 1 down here. 2 wounded moving toward Weather Ridge. Defenders. 8 effective, 9 alive. Asta keyed the burst set. Noel, status. Circ came with metal scraping behind it. First portable marker kit is out of the workshop. Spare power is with it. Asta stopped. I did not order the move. The workshop cannot hold the field open if we lose the workshop. Static clipped the end. Noel did not argue again. Where is the kit? Off the main line, still reachable from the southern lane. You moved both people. 1 carried the kit, 1 carried power. That leaves the workshop side uncovered. It leaves the kit and power off the workshop line. Asta looked from East Hangar to the runway. 2 defenders held the southern lane. 1 managed communications. 3 remained with her, though 1 had lost the use of an arm. Noel had taken the last 2 to keep the marker kit and spare power away from the workshop. All 9 remained, but their coverage had split. Keep the kit moving, she said. Do not return to the workshop. A sharp report came from beyond East Hangar. It was not aimed at her group. Glass broke somewhere behind Noel's transmission. What was that? Asta asked. Noel's breathing filled the burst channel. Workshop side, they found the empty position. Can they reach the kit? Not yet. Southern lane. Still open. Bastion's separated fighters were no longer trying to rejoin. 1 element held Asta near East Hangar. Another had toward front functions Noel had just stripped from the workshop. The renewed seizure had failed. The field itself was now the exposed target in front of them, piece by piece. Asta looked at the injured security lead. You report from here, no heroics. He nodded once. Movement east of the hangar 2. Asta heard another impact from the workshop side. Runway team, hold the south, she said. Noel, keep the kit away from the building. Everyone else with me. The burst channel closed. Across East Hangar, the hostile pressure shifted away from recombination and toward Noel's displaced kit and the exposed workshop. The pressure on East Hangar thinned without disappearing. 2 hostile fighters stayed close enough to hold Asta's group in place, while movement farther north broke into shorter bursts. Report what changed, Asta said. Workshop windows hit. No entry, the signaler answered over the burst set. Southern lane still clear. Weather Ridge shows 3 tracks climbing, 2 uneven. The wounded pair and their escort. The 4th track might be old or wind cut, and Asta would not spend people on a guess. A short burst snapped across the runway. It struck near 1 parked snow vehicle and stopped before the defenders could answer. They are testing mobility, the security lead said from behind the East Hangar wall. His damaged arm stayed pinned against his body. They are testing our attention, Asta replied. Stay on reports. Noel's voice came through with a delay. Marker kit 1 is clear of workshop. Spare power stays with it. Southern lane stays continuous. For what? For anything light enough to use it. Say the useful part. A lighter aircraft could still land from the south. The wind stripped half the next transmission away. Asta waited for the repeat. No sign of one, Noel added. Only that the lane can take it. Asta looked along the continuous southern lane. The north remained blocked by wreckage and the lost tractor. The south was the field's only remaining choice. Keep one defender with the lane, she said. Move another toward approach support. That opens the apron, the security lead warned. It leaves the apron thin, not open. A report cut through from Weather Ridge. Movement continues west of the crest. Wounded group is not turning back. Noel answered before Asta asked. That line keeps going toward the coast. So they may be leaving. They may be protecting an exit. Or clearing the field for another aircraft. Both fit what we have. Asta hated the sentence for being true. Bastion's people had struck the workshop, threatened the vehicles, and pushed the wounded toward Weather Ridge. So every action supported two ordinary readings. A lighter aircraft needed the southern lane and approach support, while a coastal withdrawal needed the defenders fixed away from the ridge. What does the field owe beyond today? She asked. Noel's reply came cleanly, then broke under static. Only winter diversion for 3 remote stations, medical and resupply rotation. Their people are off-site. If we close, they lose the alternate until another route opens. Asta watched 2 defenders cross from the runway toward approach support. Their movement left fuel apron with 1 airfield crew member and intermittent sight from the southern lane post. Move 1 back to the apron, the security lead said. Then approach support goes uncovered. Leave Weather Ridge. And lose the only line on the wounded group. They are withdrawing. They may be. The first hostile shots toward approach support struck low and wide. They forced the defenders there behind cover without damaging equipment. Another burst from below Weather Ridge sent the observer down from the exposed line. They are touching both explanations, Noel said. Asta waited. Noel knew how quickly her orders hardened. They are making us cover both. Asta shifted 1 defender from East Hangar toward Weather Ridge, and ordered the southern lane post to watch the approach equipment as well. That post cannot watch 2 directions, the security lead said. It can report the first change. And if both change, then we choose faster. The words sounded cleaner than the spread between Weather Ridge, approach support, and the lane. A tracked mark appeared across the open surface near fuel apron. Then another. Snow glare flattened the distance until Asta could not tell whether 1 person crossed twice or 2 people moved apart. Apron report, she said. No answer came. She keyed the set again. Fuel apron, report. The burst link held only wind. Noel spoke from farther south. I have movement on the apron edge, 2 shapes. Lane status. Still open. Vehicles. 1 visible, 2nd behind the fuel line. Asta turned from East Hangar toward fuel apron. Her people were spread between ridge observation, approach support, communications, the southern lane, and Noel's displaced kit. Pull the ridge observer lower, she said. Keep eyes on the route, do not pursue. The security lead pushed himself upright. You need another body at the apron. You are not that body. I can report from a vehicle. You can report from here. A sharp impact sounded across fuel apron. Snow kicked against the first vehicle, but it remained in place. The airfield crew member ran from its cover toward the second vehicle. Direct pressure on the apron, Noel said. Asta saw 1 hostile fighter rise near the hard surface while another moved behind the fuel equipment. Runway post, turn north, she ordered. Approach team, hold East Hangar team with me. That leaves the southern lane with Noel, the signaler said. Noel has the kit, he does not have the lane. I can keep the kit powered, Noel said. I cannot hold ground. Then keep the kit and power moving. Another burst struck the exposed apron. The crew member dropped behind the second vehicle. Asta started across the runway with the two remaining effective defenders at East Hangar. Behind her, the injured security lead called movement toward Weather Ridge. Ahead, hostile pressure tightened around the last rapid reserve. Both explanations remained possible. Fuel Apron could not wait for certainty. The first defender reached Fuel Apron and dropped behind the nearest snow vehicle. "Crew member is moving," he reported. "Two hostile on the hard surface, one near the runway edge." "Can the vehicles run?" Asta asked. The crew member answered from the apron. "Both can move." "Bring them out." The security lead broke into the burst channel. "You are committing everything fast. Nothing else reaches the apron in time. If this is withdrawal, you are chasing the edge of it. If it is another aircraft, we lose the field while we wait." Noel's voice arrived a beat later. "The wounded group is moving beyond Weather Ridge. The coastal line still fits." "Does that prove they are leaving?" "No." "Then keep the southern lane open." Both snow vehicles came off the apron. Their vibration reached through the frozen runway. One carried the Airfield crew member and a defender. The second moved empty toward the runway edge where she waited. "Take the second," she told the defender beside her. "Get us to the apron edge." "You want both vehicles in one fight?" "I want the apron back before the fight changes." Asta gripped the side rail as they crossed. Hostile file truck near the first machine. It kept moving toward the apron equipment while its defender covered the open side. "Left fighter is giving ground," the signaler reported. "Second is falling back toward Weather Ridge." Third, still near the runway edge. The retreat looked coherent. The wounded moved toward the coast. The apron fighters yielded in the same direction. "Push them off the hard surface," Asta said. "Do not follow beyond the apron." The first vehicle forced one hostile fighter from the equipment. A defender reached the center of Fuel Apron. Another hostile fighter fired once, then withdrew without contesting the ground. "They are leaving it," the driver said. "They are trading it." For what? Asta did not know. The second vehicle reached the apron edge. She stepped down and moved behind hard cover. Her glove caught on the side fastening. Her fingers failed to release. She pulled harder. The fastening slipped free. The brief delay registered. "Asta?" the driver asked. "Move." The defender ran toward the first vehicle. Asta followed. The hostile fighter nearest the runway edge shifted toward the retreating pair. "Three moving toward the ridge," the signaler said. "Bastion." Between them and the wounded group. The crew member turned the first snow vehicle behind secured apron equipment. The second vehicle came forward to cover the movement. Bastion stopped retreating. He raised one hand. The fighter at the runway edge stayed low, outside the line toward Weather Ridge. "Contact holding south," the signaler said. Asta looked from him to the two vehicles exposed on the apron. "Get them apart." The warning came too late. The first engine went silent under a sharp series of impacts. The vehicle rolled several feet and stopped. The crew dropped from seat and crawled clear. "First vehicle down," the defender called. The second vehicle turned toward it. "Do not recover it," Asta said. "Bring the second back." The driver reversed while Bastion's fighters moved toward Weather Ridge and the offline fighter held the vehicle in place. Asta understood the trade when the second engine cut out. The vehicle stopped in the open. Its driver climbed down and remained behind the track. "Second vehicle is dead." "Driver status." "Moving." "Crew member." No answer came. Asta crossed under cover. The Airfield crew member lay conscious behind the first vehicle, one leg unable to bear weight. "I can still work the apron," the crew member said. "You can report from cover." The crew member tried to rise. The leg folded again. "You cannot work the apron," Asta said. "Stay down." A hostile fighter appeared between Apron equipment and the runway edge. One defender fired. The man dropped, tried to move, then stopped with one arm held close. "Can he still fight?" Asta asked. "Lost. Count. 5 still effective. 2 wounded continuing toward Weather Ridge under one protector. 1 down from East Hangar, 1 down here. Bastion? Moving with the withdrawal line. And the southern fighter? Still off it." The defenders held fuel apron. No hostile fighter remained on the hard surface. For 3 breaths, it felt clean. Then Asta looked at both dead vehicles. Noel came over the burst channel. Apron status. Held. Vehicles. Both lost. Silence stretched through the link. Noel spoke first. "Then we cannot move quickly between the Apron, the ridge, and the southern lane. You agreed the coastline was strongest." "I still do." "So do I. That does not make the vehicles less gone." Asta watched the wounded group continue beyond Weather Ridge as Bastion and 2 fighters followed a similar line. The pattern favored withdrawal. Yet 1 fighter remained south, still watching the runway. "What does not fit?" Noel asked. 1 man stayed off the coastline. "Rear protection? Possible. Then withdrawal still holds. Possible is not proof." The fastening on Asta's glove had loosened. She reached to secure it. Her fingers closed, slipped, then caught on the second attempt. No pain. No weakness. Only a delay where none belonged. She tightened it with her other hand. "Southern lane?" she asked. "Continuous Kit 1 spare power remains secure. Workshop? Exposed. Approach support? Still functional. Weather Ridge? Movement continues toward the coast." Asta looked from fuel apron to the southern lane. The field could still serve 3 stations. It could no longer answer pressure with speed. "Pull the Apron team inward," she said. "Leave 1 observer, move the injured behind fixed cover." "Where do you want the rest?" Noel asked. "Mark's lights, approach support, and the southern lane. That leaves other work exposed. It leaves what we cannot replace." The security lead came over the channel. "Are we closing the north completely?" "The north is already gone." "The south?" Asta watched the lone hostile fighter remain outside the apparent withdrawal line. "Not yet. Prepare the south marker line and the runway edge in case we have to close sections. Do not touch the lane itself." Noel answered quietly. "Understood." Fuel apron belonged to the defenders again. Both snow vehicles sat dead on it, leaving the marker lights, approach support, and injured people farther apart. Asta pulled the defenders off the open apron first. The ruined vehicles stayed where they had died, across fuel apron. "Leave both machines," she said. "Clear the southern approach." The signaler looked toward Weather Ridge. "The wounded group is still moving. Keep eyes on them, no pursuit." The burst set clicked. Noel's voice arrived through wind and static. "Portable Kit 1 is secure, spare power is secure, the workshop is exposed. Move everyone away from the lane edge. You are preparing to close it. I am preparing to keep them from using it. The southern lane is still continuous. For now." Asta crossed from fuel apron toward the runway as her people shifted. 1 defender left the approach equipment at the runway edge. Another moved the injured security lead farther behind East Hangar. The crew dragged equipment from the southern lane. Nothing damaged the surface. The posture changed around it. "Bastions and 2 fighters are beyond the lower ridge line," the signaler reported. "Still moving coastward. 1 fighter remains south." "Yes, 2 wounded and 1 escort continue west. 5 effective fighters." 4 followed the exit line, including the escort. 1 remained south. Noel came back over the set. "If you close the lane, the field stops serving the 3 stations. If I leave it open, he can turn it against us." He is leaving. He was leaving. Asta looked toward Weather Ridge and watched three dark figures reduce themselves against the white ground. "Clear the southern lane edge and stage the last closure line," she said. "Do not act until I call it." The signaller repeated the order while a defender cleared the nearest exposed area. Noel shifted the portable kit farther from the workshop and closer to the low shelter beside the southern marker line. The lone fighter south of the withdrawal line rose. "Movement near the runway," a defender called. "Direction?" Toward Noel. Asta turned. The fighter did not shoot at the lane. He fired toward the displaced kit, forcing Noel and the crew member beside him behind the low marker power shelter. "Kit 1 under pressure," Noel said. "Can you move it?" "Not while he holds the open ground." Asta raised the burst set. "Apron observer, cover Noel, East Hangar team, shift south." The signaller interrupted. Weather Ridge changed. Asta looked back. Bastion had stopped. The wounded pair and their escort kept moving toward the coast. The three effective fighters with Bastion turned together and started down from the ridge. "They are coming back," the signaller said. Wounded group. Still moving west. Esser Court. Still with them. Noel's voice went quiet. "He is giving up the exit." The South fighter fired again at the portable kit. Bastion and the two fighters returning from Weather Ridge spread behind him, not toward the wreck or fuel apron. All three angled toward the exposed marker kit in spare power. Asta's first interpretation resisted for 1 second. A withdrawal commander might turn back for a trapped man, cover the wounded route, or recover equipment. Bastion did none of those things. He left the wounded moving and abandoned the safest distance he had gained to attack the one asset Asta could still destroy. "Cancel closure preparation," she said. The signaller stared. "They are turning back. That is why. If they retake the field, they are not trying to retake it." She spoke only after the movement proved enough. The seizure and heavy cargo had been real. By abandoning the coast to attack the marker kit, Bastion made the change plain. He needed Asta to close the field for him. The South fighter shifted fire toward the spare power. Noel kept his head below the support edge. "Asta," Noel said. "I need a decision." "You have it. Keep the lane open." "At what limit?" "Your limit." The signaller stared at her. "You are giving him final call. On whether the lane can accept traffic, yes." Noel answered after a short pause. "Then nobody touches the southern surface without my approval." Asta nearly answered at once. The old reflex was to keep the final word. "Agreed. And if I say the workshop or a kit is gone, it stays lost." Bastion and two fighters reached lower ground. One broke toward the workshop while Bastion and the other continued toward the portable kit. The fighter already south held Noel in place. "Bastion and those two midst the pickup now," the security lead reported from East Hangar. "They cannot make the coast before us now. They know. Then why come back?" Asta watched Bastion trade distance for pressure. "To make our last choice smaller." She divided the remaining defenders. Two held the runway edge. One stayed with communications. One covered the injured. The rest moved with her toward Noel's shelter beside the marker line. "Do not chase Bastion," she said. "Protect the kit and the lane. That leaves the workshop. Noel decides what the field needs." The fastening at Asta's wrist resisted when she adjusted it. Her fingers closed more slowly than before, then released. The hand still worked. It no longer obeyed without notice. A burst struck the low marker power shelter. Spare power shifted against the ground but remained connected to the portable kit. "Power is still live," Noel said. "The kit is still exposed. What is the minimum field?" "This kit, this power, a marked southern lane." "Can the workshop add anything we cannot lose?" "Yes." "Can we keep both?" "No." Bastion and two fighters closed from the ridge, while the south fighter held the open side. The defenders had no mobile reserve or continuous link. Asta no longer decided the lane alone. Then keep the minimum alive, she said. Noel rose far enough to pull the kit tighter against the support edge. The first returning hostile shots struck the workshop side. Asta moved between them and the southern lane. The field remained open through one exposed marker kit, one power unit, and Noel's final word. Shots struck the workshop edge and drove the remaining crew member from the door. "Workshop contact," signaler said. "One fighter on the north side." "Bastion?" Asta asked, moving toward Noel with 1-1 at the workshop. The fighter already south held the southern lane side while Bastion split pressure between the portable kit and workshop. Noel kept one hand on Kit 1. "Kit 2 is still inside." "What does it add?" Asta asked. "Redundancy, replacement markers, another power path." "What does Kit 1 keep?" "The marked southern lane." "Can you move both?" "Not under this pressure." The workshop crew member crawled behind a low barrier. Kit 2 sat inside the open door while the route stayed exposed. "Leave Kit 2, she said. Noel looked at her, across the low shelter beside the marker line. "That is my call now." Asta held his gaze. "Then make it." A burst crossed the runway and struck the ground between the workshop and the southern marker line. Noel measured the distance once. "Kit 1's and spare power move," he said. "Workshop and Kit 2 stay." The workshop crew member raised a hand. "Kit 2 is at the door, I can get it." "Noel," Asta began. "One kit keeps the winter diversion alive for 3 stations," Noel said. 2 kits mean nothing if both stay in that building. It is 10 seconds. It is gone. Noel pulled the portable kit from the support edge, while the defender beside him lifted the spare power. Asta shifted 2 defenders between them and Bastion's returning fighters. "Move south along the runway," she said. "Keep the lane clear." "Where do you want the workshop crew?" the signaler asked. Behind fixed cover, no return. The case shifted under the next impact, and the workshop crew member moved toward it. A hostile fighter appeared at the building edge. An impact struck beside the crew member. He fell and did not rise. "Crew member down," the signaler said. "Can he work or fight?" "Conscious. One leg and one hand not working clean." "Can he move?" "Only with help." Asta sent a defender thinning Noel's screen. Helping the crew member open space around Noel. Keeping the screen intact left the man exposed. Bastion only had to make the return cost more than Kit 2. Bastion used the opening. Bastion and 2 fighters moved closer while the south fighter forced Noel toward the runway. "Too open," Noel said. "Your limit." "Kit 1 survives if we reach the southern marker line. The lane survives if nobody turns this into a fight across it." Asta keyed the burst set. "All defenders, no crossing fire over the southern lane, protect Noel's move." The security lead answered from East Hangar. "That gives Bastion the inside edge. It gives us a field afterward." The defender dragged the crew member away as the fighter turned to the abandoned door. "Workshop is lost," the signaler said. "Noel?" Asta asked. "Lost." Kit 2. "Lost with it." The workshop held equipment, but Noel had chosen the marker and power chain that could keep the lane open. Asta had to protect it. Asta backed with Noel's group, her wrist fastening loose. Her right fingers closed late on the tab, and it stayed fixed. She tried once more. "Asta, move," Noel said. She abandoned the fastening and stepped closer to Noel's screen. The delay changed her timing. Noel confirmed that the markers still lit, the power remained live, and nothing wider than the marked southern path could pass. "You own that boundary." "I already did. Now everyone knows." Bastion and 2 fighters reached the workshop side. One fighter held the abandoned equipment, while Bastion and another pressed toward the runway. Asta shortened the screen around Noel. One security member could not fight, 2 crew members could not carry their work, and no vehicle could close the distance. The set clicked. External support check, the signaler said. Next confirmed window remains 140 minutes. Can they advance it? Asta asked. No response beyond receipt. They do not decide this, she said. Noel glanced toward the southern lane. They arrive after our current field either exists or does not. Then report only if the time changes. Fire came from the workshop edge while a defender held Bastion back from Noel. Kit 1 is at the southern marker line, Noel said. The defender set down the spare power while Noel checked it. Mockers lit and power live, he said. 1 chain, no second path. What do you need from me? Keep the fight outside the marker line. And if the marked width shrinks, I tell you, you do not widen it. North, the wreck fixed the loss threshold. Fuel Apron held 2 dead vehicles, and the workshop with Kit 2 was gone. Only the southern lane remained continuous. Bastion could still threaten the abandoned workshop, the marker kit, and the runway edge, while Asta could answer only one place at a time. She looked along open runway. The runway offered no shelter. But open ground would expose every hostile shift before it reached another part of the airfield. What if we stop answering each piece? She asked. Noel followed her attention. Then he chooses the next one. Only if we leave him choices. The security lead came over the burst set. Where are we forming? Not inside a building, Asta said. Not around the workshop. The apron? No mobility, too much cover. The open runway keeps the lane visible and makes every movement cost him distance, Asta said. It also exposes us. Yes. Her right hand finally released the fastening. She secured it with the left and lifted her weapon. Hold the minimum field here, she told Noel. I will move the fight away from it. Outside my marker line. Outside your marker line. Asta keyed the burst set. We form on the open runway, prepare to move on my order. The defenders had 1 marker kit, no mobile reserve, and 1 lane they could not sacrifice. The open ground would be the next place. Asta made him choose. Asta moved the defenders onto the runway before Bastion could isolate the marker kit, the southern lane, or another injured person. 2 on the open line, she said. 1 stays with communications. Noel keeps the southern marker line. Nobody crosses it. The injured security lead answered from East Hangar. You are giving them the whole width. I am taking away the corners. Open ground cuts both ways. That is why we are using it. The defenders left the workshop and fuel apron behind. North, the wreck and tractor fixed the loss threshold. South, Noel's kit and spare power kept 1 marked lane continuous. Asta stepped onto the open surface with 2 effective defenders. The distance to East Hangar exposed every movement between the abandoned workshop and the runway. Bastion and 3 fighters are moving, the signaler said. 3 near the workshop, 1 farther south. Bastion? With the 3. Noel's voice came over the burst set. Southern marker line remains unchanged. Keep it that way. You are moving the fight closer. I am moving it where you can see it. I can see it, I cannot absorb it. You will not have to. A burst struck the runway ahead of Asta. She changed direction but did not leave the open line. The hostile fighter south of Bastion shifted to keep the angle. That movement exposed him to the defenders behind her. Hold fire, Asta said. He is in the open, 1 defender replied. He wants us to turn south. Then, what do you want? Make Bastion move first. The fighter near the southern side fired again. Bastion's 3-person group remained near the workshop, too far to support him without crossing visible ground. Asta continued toward East Hangar at a measured pace. The south fighter withdrew 10 yards. Moving, the defender said. Lost still alone. The signaler broke in. Weather reports 3 continuing west, 2 uneven, 1 steady. The wounded and escort, Asta said. No turn back. The coast route remained real. Bastion had left the escort with the people he meant to preserve. Asta stopped near the center of the runway, where the distance stripped cover from every choice Bastion made. He can keep threatening the workshop, the kit, and the lane from 3 places, she said over the burst set, or he can concentrate and cross this ground. The security lead answered, he can wait. Not if he wants the field closed before his exit disappears. Noel spoke next. External support remains more than an hour away, no earlier window. Exact time. 140 minutes from the original mark. Then it does not enter this decision. A hostile round struck near the signaler at the runway edge. He dropped behind the runway edge and kept the set working. Bastion's group shifted away from the workshop. 3 moving, the signaler said. South fighter turning toward them. Direction? East Hangar. Asta saw the shape form. Bastion crossed first. 2 fighters followed. The 4th left the southern pressure line and moved to join them. They are concentrating, one defender said. They are giving up distance, Asta replied. The security lead came through with a strained breath. If Bastion and those 3 turn east, they miss the coastal pickup. Confirm. Ridge observer says the coastline closes before they can recover the distance. Wounded group? Still moving, escort remains with them. Bastion had protected the wounded route and abandoned his own exit. Asta had made every movement visible, and he answered by choosing one fight. Keep Bastion and those 3 on the open surface, she said. Do not let them split again. The defenders advanced far enough to hold Bastion's group between the runway and East Hangar. The first exchange forced both sides lower. Asta heard a short cry behind her and saw the rear runway defender collapse onto one knee. Leg hit, the signaler said. He cannot keep pace. Can he move off the runway? With help. Asta sent one defender back, spending 2 bodies to remove one injury from the open surface. The line narrowed to herself and a single effective fighter. Bastion used the loss immediately. Bastion and 3 thugs angled toward East Hangar, where the outer wall broke the defender's view. Do not chase the outside fighter, Asta said. Hold the door line. The defender beside her checked the injured man. We are down another body. We still have the route Bastion needs. Asta reached for the small metal cap on the burst set connection at her vest. Her fingers closed too slowly. The cap slipped free and fell onto the runway. It made almost no sound. She looked down once. The piece lay against the black surface near her boot. Asta? The signaler asked. Leave it. You need it. I need the set working. She pressed the connection flat with her palm and moved on. The hand held pressure, but could not manage the small change. Noel's voice came through with static. Marker line stable, kit and power remain active. Can Bastion reach you without East Hangar? Not without crossing the open runway inside our marked line. They will not do that. How certain are you? Certain enough to move them east. Bastion and 3 fighters reached the outside of East Hangar. The open runway offered no cover or return to the coast. Noel's marker line remained visible, and the direct path stayed exposed. The security lead reported from the hangar side. East Hangar is their only protected line toward the southern end. Toward the junction approach? Asta asked. Yes. Can you pluck the interior? Not alone, I can report. You stay out of contact. I know I cannot fight. Asta watched Bastion pause at the hangar entrance. He assigned one fighter to the outside edge and drew the others close. No one moved back toward Weather Ridge. The wounded route continued without them. The pickup would not wait for Bastion and the 3 fighters beside him. Asta, Noel said. If they come through the hangar, they reach the runway exit closer to my marker line. I know. You cannot let the fight cross the markers. I will not. Her right hand tightened around the larger grip. Gross movement remained dependable. The dropped cap stayed behind on the runway. Bastion entered East Hangar with 3 effective fighters. Asta brought the remaining combat defenders toward the entrance and stopped short of the enclosure. "Hold here," she said. "They are committed now." The open ground choice had stripped away Bastion's fallback. East Hangar was the only protected route left between Bastion's 4-person group and South Threshold Junction. Bastion did not rush deeper into East Hangar. He stopped where the enclosure divided sound from sight. Asta entered with 2 delegation, leaving the signaler at the runway entrance. "Keep the exit audible," she said. "Report movement, not guesses." The hangar returned her words. One hostile fighter moved near the interior edge, then stopped before Asta could attack the change. Another shifted behind Bastion without crossing into open view. "They are waiting," a defender whispered. "No, they are moving before the last man settles." On the runway, every movement carried a beginning and an end. Inside East Hangar, Bastion kept each task unfinished. One fighter watched while another moved. Then the first moved before the second settled. There was no clean transfer to break. A short burst struck the floor ahead. The sound folded through the enclosure. "Bastion +3 still inside," the signaler reported. "No outside split. Hold the exit. If they push you inward, keep the outside clear." Bastion spoke once from ahead. "Slow, keep contact." His fighters reduced their pace further. Asta moved along the only interior line toward the southern runway exit. She could not let them pass and could not turn the fight across Noel's marker line. A defender asked, "Do we press?" "We contain. They are gaining ground. Then take less ground from them." The answer felt wrong. Bastion was making every foot of movement part of the same pressure. One fighter came close through the echo. Asta brought her weapon up, shifted her grip, and felt her right fingers arrive late. The fighter struck the barrel aside and drove into her shoulder. Asta stayed upright and used her forearm to push him away. When she tried to change grip again, her fingers failed to release in sequence. The defender beside her pulled the fighter offline. "Move back," Asta said. "I have him. You have 1 second." Bastion's next fighter filled the before the first cleared it. Asta drove the second man against the wall with both forearms and stepped away before her hand trapped her in the contact. "Your right hand?" the defender asked. "Gross movement works." "That was not my question. It is the answer you need." The first fighter recovered. Bastion held behind both men and kept the fourth near the southern exit. He did not reach for a quick result. He let the enclosure erase the pauses Asta needed. The signaler called from outside. "Noel is moving marker control toward South Threshold Junction." Asta keyed the burst set with her left hand. "Noel, status. Portable power is moving. Marker bundle is with me. Stay behind the marker line. The marked width moves with the lane that remains open." "You decide it." "I already decide whether the lane can accept movement. You decide the markers and power too. Do not wait for where I stand. That removes your final call. It removes my ability to overrule yours. And if you need ground, I ask. If the answer is no, then it is no." Noel answered, "Understood." Asta released the set. The control caught under her right glove. Her fingers could not change from pressure to release quickly enough. She tore the hand away and left the set hanging against her vest. Bastion advanced during the delay. "Runway exit in 20 yards, the signaler said. "Keep it clear." The defender beside her was forced toward the wall. The second defender held the interior line but could not cover Asta and the exit at once. "Asta," the first defender said. "Choose the exit or the interior." "Exit. That gives them the center. They can have the center." She moved the defenders backward. Bastion and 3 fighters followed without breaking shape. His 3 fighters remained effective, each close enough to protect the next movement. 5 yards, the signaler said. Move outside. I can hold the frame. You report from the runway. The signaler withdrew. A hostile fighter drove at the defender on Asta's left. Their bodies struck the opening frame. Asta reached to pull the defender clear, but her right hand closed on fabric and would not release when the fighter changed direction. It dragged her off balance. She let the whole arm go loose and turned with the pull. Her shoulder hit the frame. The defender broke free, but Bastion reached the opening. Asta, outside, Noel said over the hanging set. Marker line. Still clear, marker bundle and power are moving toward the junction approach. Keep moving. I need to know where your fight ends. South threshold junction approach. Hold the marker line there. You are giving me the last ground. I am giving you the ground that still serves the field. Then do not enter it without asking. Asta stepped onto the runway exit. Open wind replaced the echo. East Hangar lay behind her. Ahead, Noel and one defender carried the marker bundle and portable power toward the south threshold junction approach. The marked southern lane remained open beside them. Bastion reached the exit with 3 effective fighters. Asta's remaining combat defenders formed between Bastion's group and Noel. They had stopped the immediate break, not the movement. Count Bastion's group. Bastion +3, the signaler answered. Coast group. 2 wounded and escorts still moving, no return. Support? Unchanged, outside our window. Bastion looked past Asta toward Noel's equipment. He did not speak. 1 fighter moved left. Another held the East Hangar exit. The 3rd stayed close to Bastion. They are pushing the fight onto Noel's marker line, the runway defender said. Can we fall back to Noel? Not through the marked lane. Then we hold here. We hold Bastion here. Bastion sent 1 fighter forward. Asta met him with the larger movements her hand still allowed. She blocked the first impact with her forearm and drove him away from the lane side. The second change came too quickly. Her right fingers stayed fixed around the grip while her wrist needed to turn. She could not make both happen. The fighter struck her arm aside and passed half a step beyond her. A defender closed the gap before he reached Noel's line. Asta, you cannot manage both, Noel said. I know. Say it as an order. She looked toward the portable power and marker bundle. If she kept one claim over them, Noel would still wait for her under pressure. Markers, power, the marked width, and every movement inside it are yours, full authority. And you? Bastion and his fighters. No overlap? Only when you request it. Noel shifted the portable power closer to the junction approach. Accepted. Noel moved south with the equipment while Asta turned toward Bastion. Bastion and 3 fighters pressed out of East Hangar. Asta and the defenders gave ground along the runway exit, keeping the fight outside the marked lane. Bastion moved his group toward final leverage. 2 crossed this exit, the signaler said. 3rd behind Bastion. Keep the outside open. They already hold the approach. Not the lane. They do not hold the lane. 1 hostile fighter reached the outer edge of the south threshold junction approach. They reached the marker line in seconds, Noel said. Can you move it farther? No, farther closes the remaining width. Then hold. I am holding the markers and power. You hold them. Asta shifted her weapon to the left and used her right, only for pressure against the larger surface. Bastion saw the adjustment. He moved closer behind his 3 fighters. Asta prevented the first from crossing Noel's marker line. She could not stop the second from reaching the junction approach. The 3rd followed Bastion out of the hangar exit. Bastion and all 3 fighters still moved together. Noel set the portable power at the marker line and kept the markers in hand. The southern lane stayed continuous behind him. Final marker line, he said. No more ground. Asta stood between Bastion and the marked approach, with two defenders able to fight beside her. Her right hand could hold, push, and strike. It could no longer manage the quick changes the enclosure had demanded. Bastion and 3 effective fighters occupied the junction approach. Asta held the human threat. Noel held the only lane wide enough to remain open. Bastion moved first at the junction. One fighter drove toward Noel's marker line, while another struck the runway defender on Asta's left. The third stayed close to Bastion, ready to answer whichever side opened. "Marker line holds," Noel said. "Keep it visible." "It is visible. Your fight is coming onto it." "Then call the distance." Asta kept both defenders outside the marked southern lane. Open air replaced the east hangar echo, and exhaustion shortened every movement. "Lead fighter on Noel again," the signaler said. Second man behind him. The left defender absorbed the impact and stumbled south. "1 step," Noel called. "2 more and I lose the width." Asta caught the defender's vest with her left hand and turned him away. Her right hand remained fixed on the grip. It could hold pressure, but it could not release and return before the fighter changed direction. She used her shoulder instead. The fighter went sideways as the second man entered through the space he left. "Runway defender, take the second," Asta said. The defender checked him before he reached the marker line. Asta pressed the first man back with both forearms, keeping her boots outside Noel's marked edge. "Still clear," Noel said. "Power live," markers lit. Bastion stopped sending 1 man at a time. "2 together," the signaler said. 1 on Asta, 1 on the power, third man wide. "Wide movement," Noel said. 5 steps. "Right defender takes wide, left stays with me." "And the power?" the right defender asked. "Noel holds the power." "He changed direction," the right defender said. "He is on the outer marker." Asta turned her whole body instead of changing grip and arrived late. The marker shifted, but its light remained on. "Do not move it back," Noel said. "It is out of line." "I can still see the width. Leave it." Bastion Twain drove at Asta while she looked toward the marker. His shoulder struck her chest and forced her 1 step south. "Mark line," Noel called. Asta stopped. There was no room behind her that she was allowed to take. "Left defender, now." The defender struck Bastion from the side. Bastion caught him and drove him down onto the junction approach. "He cannot stand," the signaler reported from the runway exit. "Can he hold anyone?" "From the ground." Then he holds Bastion's legs. The fallen defender locked both arms around Bastion's lower body. Asta pressed down with the heel of her right palm, because her fingers could not make the smaller change. The nearest hostile fighter abandoned the marker line to help Bastion, giving Noel 3 seconds and costing Asta the right side. "Second fighter on me," the right defender said. "I am losing the junction edge." Asta tried to release her grip. Her fingers stayed closed. Bastion saw it. "Her right," he said. All 3 fighters acted on it. "1 on your right hand," the signaler said. 1 coming left, wide man pushing the power. The 3 attacks landed together. Asta let the weapon hang and used her forearms, leaving no quick answer for the man moving toward Noel. "Asta," Noel said. "I cannot leave the markers." "I know. He is 3 steps from the power. Keep your hands on it." "Half a step short," the right defender said. Asta released Bastion to the defender on the ground and crossed the gap with her whole body. The fighter hit her side. She drove him away with her left shoulder, buying enough time for the right defender to close. "Bastion is up," the signaler said. "Left defender is down with Bastion," the signaler said. "Right defender is beside the power. You cannot reach both." The marker line still held. Noel looked down the marked path, then moved the outer marker inward by a single step. "What did you take?" Asta asked. "The width I could no longer defend." "Does the lane stay open?" "For limited movement, nothing wider." The 3 remote stations would keep a reduced but real alternate. Asta needed no further explanation. Final marker line, he said. No further correction. Bastion and 1 coming straight, the signaler said. Other 2 are splitting the defenders. Then use my timing, Asta said. Left defender holds Bastion. Right defender blocks the lane side. Nobody follows a man who turns away. Bastion struck first. Asta met him with both forearms, planted her left foot outside Noel's line, and redirected him toward the defender already on the ground. Now, the left defender trapped Bastion's leg and pulled. Bastion fell onto one knee. The right defender ignored the fighter retreating from him and intercepted the man reaching for Noel. The third attacker followed. Unable to change grips, Asta stepped in with her shoulder and drove him against Bastion's falling body. The left defender kept both men down. 2 contained, the signaler said. 2 pressing the marker line together, the signaler said. Noel? Power live, markers visible, no more width. Hold both. I am holding both, finish the people. I have one, the right defender said. Second man is through toward the power. Asta crossed the junction approach, struck with her forearm, and stayed attached through body pressure until the right defender closed from the other side. Together they forced him down outside the line. Last man turning back toward Bastion, the signaler said. Do not follow, Asta said. Stay on Bastion, Asta said. Let the other man come. His retreat left him alone between Asta and the right defender. They moved on the same beat. The defender stopped his shoulder while Asta drove through the opening at his side, taking him down outside the marker line. Check all 4, she said. The signaler moved from the runway exit, stayed clear of Noel's line, and checked all 4. All 4 neutralized, none can continue. Asta remained over Bastion until the left defender had full control. Noel never left the portable power. Movement inside the lane, he asked. None. Power is live, the first markers stay visible. North of them, the wreck and tractor still closed the lost section. Fuel Apron held 2 dead snow vehicles, and the workshop with Kit 2 remained beyond recovery. Noel studied the marked southern path. This is the final width, he said. Anything wider closes the lane. Asta's right hand still would not release the wrist fastening. Then this is the width. Noel lifted the first marker for the reopening move. Asta stepped beside him and took the lower end with her left hand.